The month of September has witnessed a lot of positive vibes to raise the optimism stakes for the rest of the year. Here are the top 5 positive news stories of September 2021. Before we begin, please show us some love by liking our video, subscribing to our channel, and hitting the bell icon to receive notifications for upcoming positive listicle videos. Number 5. Babies mixed up in hospital, but then families decide to raise them together, and they're all best friends now. From the Truth is Stranger Than Fiction files comes this story of 2 babies swapped at birth due to a hospital error. The mix-up was discovered when the toddlers were 3, and then the biological parents were faced with the agonizing prospect of taking the little girls away from the only families they'd ever known. Rather than rip the families apart, the collective parents found a way to raise their daughters together under one roof. Sicilian moms Caterina Olagna and Melissa Federa, from the fishing village of Mazzara del Vallo, were both 23 years old when they gave birth to baby girls 15 minutes apart as the clock ticked toward midnight on December 31, 1998. During the New Year's Eve celebrations, the on-duty nurses somehow managed to switch out the 2 babies. When it was time for the mothers and newborns to head home, Olagna and Federa both questioned why the infants weren't wearing the clothing they'd brought, but the hospital staff assured them that all was well. 3 years later, as Olagna was picking up her daughter Melissa from nursery school, she saw something that shook her to the core. Another child, Caterina by name, bore an uncanny resemblance to Olagna's 2 other biological daughters. When she recognized the little girl's mother Federa as the woman she'd shared the maternity ward with, the clothing incident popped into her mind, and something clicked. The swaddling hadn't been switched, the babies had. 15 days later, DNA tests confirmed her suspicions. It was a choice neither one of them wanted to face. But rather than simply make the swap back, the families decided it would be best to let everyone acclimate to the new situation slowly. Both girls and both sets of parents began spending time together in one house. The arrangement worked out so well that, when the 2 families separated on the advice of experts for a 6-month trial, the plan was quickly scuttled. The switch was explained to Melissa and Caterina when they were 8 years old. The only real complication they've faced is the issue with their legal names. Emotionally, however, the 2 girls, now grown to young adulthood, couldn't be better. Number 4. Jane Goodall enlists fans to help plant 1 trillion trees around the world by 2030. World-renowned primatologist Dr. Jane Goodall launched a grassroots movement this month during the United Nations Climate Week to support their ecosystem restoration project, the Trillion Tree Campaign. Trees for Jane, organized by the inspiring founder of the Jane Goodall Institute, aims to stop deforestation and help replenish the world's dwindling stock of trees and forests through community-based protection and reforestation programs. She narrated a film called 8 Trillion Trees, in which she calls on every person and every business to plant and care for a tree in their backyards, on rooftops or communities. Their website aims to inspire, educate, and engage a global audience to act now, as the world nears a tipping point in the fight against climate change. They hope that Trees for Jane will galvanize a global audience, from students and teachers, to activists, to corporations and governments, to support the UN's goal to plant 1 trillion trees by 2030. While Goodall encourages all viewers to plant a tree, the film also reinforces the importance of protecting and restoring trees. Anyone can join the cause by planting a tree or donating at treesforjane.org. Number 3. 100-year-old grandma sets Guinness World Record as a powerlifter and continues winning trophies. Reaching the age of 100 in good health and good spirits is an accomplishment in its own right, but training to take home your next weightlifting trophy truly takes the cake. At the age of 98 years and 94 days, great-great-grandmother Edith Murway Trina already had a Guinness World Record as the oldest female competitive powerlifter under her belt, and she successfully deadlifted 150 pounds to do it. Trina's storied win will be featured in the Guinness World Records 2022 edition. As a former dance instructor and performer, physical fitness was always a way of life for the Bronx-born Florida transplant, but considering she took up weightlifting a scant 9 years ago, the progress Trina's made is truly impressive. Trina admits that harking back to her days as an entertainer, a great deal of her motivation has to do with how much she enjoys being in the limelight and the positive feedback she's received. She says that every time she'd compete, she'd get applause, and every time she'd get applause, she'd get a little bit happier. At the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, Trina's doctors sent her to the sidelines, but she returned to the gym as soon as she got the green light. She's now back in training with coach Bill Beakley, working hard to make up for lost time and get back in shape for an upcoming November competition at which she hopes to bring home yet another winner's cup to add to her collection. Trina also appreciates that her current fame largely has to do with her advanced age, but as long as she can be a positive role model who blows the sweet little old lady stereotype out of the water, she's good with that. Number 2. Firefighters finally reach deaf dog trapped in storm drain after 10 hours of trying. When Zoe, a 15-year-old deaf lab mix, wandered away from her home, practically the whole community turned out to help find her. I had put on Nextdoor app, "We're missing our dog," and people were like, "Here's my number. Call me and I will come help you find her," dog mom Andrea Tankersley said. Searchers reported hearing dog sounds, but were unable to figure out where they were coming from. 2 days later, city water crews homing in on her echoing barks located Zoe trapped in a muddy storm drain under a city street. A water department camera was set up to monitor Zoe's condition in the tunnel as a Herculean rescue effort coordinated by Arlington's fire department, police, paramedics, and city workers was quickly mounted to free the trapped canine. Using jackhammers, pneumatic saws, and heavy equipment, crews worked tirelessly in extreme heat conditions to break up the pavement and dig down to the concrete drain pipe below. Throughout the excavation, neighbors supplied workers with food and beverages to keep them going. Nearly 10 hours later, a section of the top of the culvert was lifted away to reveal the watery channel. Once they had access, rescuers still had to come up with a way to get Zoe safely out of the confined tunnel space. At 11 hours and counting, rescuers finally pulled Zoe from the concrete pipe to cheers and applause from an elated crowd of onlookers. Amazingly, although she was scuffed up and understandably distressed, Zoe suffered no major ill effects from her ordeal and after getting an all clear from the vet, is happy to be back home. Number 1. Bank that lost 66 workers on 9/11 has paid for all their kids to go to college. On September 11, 2001, 66 men and women who worked for the investment banking firm Sandler O'Neill & Partners on the 104th floor in the World Trade Center lost their lives. In the harrowing days following the terrorist attacks, the company made the decision to set up a foundation to pay college tuition for all the 76 children of their fallen colleagues. Of the 76 children, 54 young men and women have had their college tuition paid so far, with 22 young men and women still eligible. The 54 who are now attending or have attended college have gone to every sort of school imaginable, from Stanford to Notre Dame to community colleges and technical institutes. The youngest child eligible was born 6 weeks after September 11. When that child graduates from college, the Sandler O'Neill Foundation will cease to exist, except in memory. But what a resounding memory it will be. Multiply the positivity by sharing these sweet stories with your friends on social media. Like, subscribe and hit the bell icon to receive notifications for upcoming positive listicle videos.